I mean,
We are
everybody
live.
around us, it's surprisingly that Colorado stayed mainly dry and hot, and every place around us we're getting it. California, uh, up in Montana, the east, and the south. And it just seemed like we were in a pocket, and we had no severe weather, no snow, no nothing. But everybody around us was getting 10 to 15 to up to maybe 28 inches of snow.
Wow.
So we're kind of in a drought. Lakes were kind of drying up here in Denver.
We are now live, just so you know. I don't know if anyone's joining us, but the mic things seem to be working properly. If you are joining us live, people, if you've got questions, get them in the chat and ask one on each. First of all, we've both got groovy hats on. You got yours is cooler than mine. I'm wearing my mega hat because it's May the 4th be with you. I've got my Star Wars
Oh,
t-shirt on.
I thought that you had a turtle on your head and it was doing something it shouldn't be doing.
No, it's Make the Empire Great Again.
Yeah,
Mega. It's the only time. Oh, why does it have to be red?
I know. Well, it could stand for the Red Road.
Yeah, but like, who do we associate a red baseball hat with at the end of the day?
The Cincinnati Reds. Let's see who else has red caps. Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm talking about a certain kind of man who's in charge of your goddamn country. That's who I'm talking about, man.
Well, I think people are starting to wake up.
Fucking waking up
And
slowly.
even Republicans, hard-nosed Republicans, are voting for Democrats.
Really?
Yep. People, states that were completely 100% red uh, for Republicans are now turning those red states into blue states.
Well, I hope that
The
sticks.
blue states represent Democrats, the red states represent Republicans. But Democrats have been winning all over in different states right now. So hopefully, well, let's put it this way: Trump's kind of running for his life right now because he knows that if the Democrats go in, he's not only going to get impeached, he's going to jail.
Is he?
Oh yeah, there's enough charges against him. He should have been in jail already.
Well, I don't get that, but can't he pardon himself on his way out or anything like that?
Yeah, well, he has charges of pedophilia and and other charges of racketeering, and so again, a lot of this is starting to finally come out that people are realizing that he made so many promises and he has not kept one.
Except for the one to himself,
Yeah,
to become rich.
well, after all, he's playing Jesus too. And the portrait, remember the portrait there where he was playing Jesus, healing people?
Yeah. Yeah, and our king's come over and spoke to Congress, hasn't he? King Charles came over and put him in his place a little bit, talking about the Magna Carta and
Yeah,
executive powers. And that's from an actual king.
yeah. And he basically pointed out that Congress is basically sworn to uphold their constitution and not let one man rule them. So
Yeah,
he's kind
Charlie
of
knew what he was saying, didn't he? He came over there and went, what are you going to
yeah.
say?
And then Melinda basically gave the Queen a gift, a $40,000 gift, and the Queen refused to take it.
Did she?
So that was all right. And but when you watch some of the clips too, Trump was rude. I mean, he would walk ahead of the king.
Did he?
But he would jump in front of the king to shake people's hands. He wouldn't let the king shake their hands. And then one of the
No.
Fox, it was pretty funny because one of the Fox commentators that was there was actually escorted away from the Queen because she didn't follow protocol. And then J.D. Vance refused to stand when the king came in to basically talk to Congress. He refused to stand for the king.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But that's what I mean. People are so dumb, that what's a little gesture?
Exactly.
Yeah, just out of respect.
That's the one in it, respect, really.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, I was in the military, so it was the Queen at the time, so I'm a member of Her Majesty's forces, and I served Queen and country. I'm not a royalist in the sense that I think we need royalty, but at the same time, I wouldn't want a president either, because that seems even worse. At least we've got our pageantry and stuff, so if we're going to have somebody doing all that kind of stuff at the top, I'd rather
yeah.
have my monarchy than, like, some person like
Well,
the president.
he did mention the fact too that number one, even though he's king, he's ruled by the Magna Carta.
Oh, can
Exactly.
I say something?
Come
Yeah.
on then,
About
Matthew, get on
royalty?
camera if you're going to speak.
I don't have my shirt on because I'm about to take a shower. But I was just gonna say is look at this way. Back in the day, royalty was worse. You married your cousin.
I was going to say, every time you turn on the TV, you see Native Americans without church, right? So what the hell?
As I say, Matthew, it's not that I'm a big fan of the monarchy, of a monarchy, and
Yeah.
that I'm just saying, given the choice of the two, if you've got to have one, I mean, I'd go for the monarchy, just especially since our monarchy's in check by Parliament, isn't he? He's a head of state, but the king can't take us to war.
Yeah.
He can sign the bit of paper, and that's how we go to war. But it's got to go through Parliament first. So
Well, that's why I have to have a lot of respect for King Charles and for the Pope because they're actually doing what's supposed to be done. Now they have a new I can't remember his name, but they have I think a Democrat running for the Senate, I believe, in Texas. And he talked about scriptures and he said, why is it that they always bring up Jesus, but yet they don't follow his teachings? But he's really starting to get more and more popular, and he may dethrone. I don't know who he's running against. I don't know if he's running against on the Senate or for the governor. I'm not quite sure. But it'd be nice to see Abbott get the hell out of there. He's a racist like you wouldn't believe. And you know what's so funny is that they did a survey, and it's funny how even though my vision came a long time ago, there was over 100 million people who responded to the survey saying that they believe that the end of the world will come in their lifetime.
where was that survey taken?
Well, that's because of certain type of situations that are happening in the world today with Trump, Putin, Xi, UN, Iran. Everybody is getting to a point when I think it was also predicted that when the world goes to war, that's when the end is coming. And if you look at all the countries right now, how many countries are not at war?
Most of Europe isn't.
Yeah, you got NATO with Russia.
Well, we're not at war with them, are we?
Well, when you say we're not at war, we're not physically sitting there shooting them up, but we're sending them everything that they need to fight the
Yeah,
war against them.
we're helping
We're
a country.
involved one way or the other, yeah.
I get what you mean. It's splitting hairs a little bit, isn't it? Because we are involved, but compared to when Europe was always at war, Napoleonic Wars and armadas and all that kind of stuff, Europe itself isn't fighting amongst itself anymore.
To get back now, even though that's serious, something that's probably more serious needs to be looked at right now. When I had my vision, and I wish people would start to understand that they have a power within themselves, but they're not willing to basically do things that will help them understand what their power is, what their gift is. And I always tell them that we are in a situation right now where there's so much negative energy in this world today that it's basically lending to the destruction of the world. And I always tell people, I said, take a swimming pool full of negative energy. If you take one drop of positive energy and put it into that pool, it'll clear it up. The power of positive energy is unbelievable, but we're going in the wrong direction. We are not adding to the positive energy, we're adding to the negative energy. Because if you don't find out who you are, how are you supposed to be part of the whole? How are you supposed to be part of the solution that needs to be done? When I had my vision, I didn't realize the importance of the human circle of life. And it only about a year ago, or maybe less than a year ago, I finally realized that the human circle of life was the sacred hoop. But yet people are not breaking any records trying to come into the human circle of life to help fix the sacred hoop. Everybody plays a certain role within the sacred hoop. And when you have one person who finds their gift, there's probably 100 more people or more that have the same gift. So they add to that particular energy, that particular point. And what they don't realize, in order for the positive energy to exist and to do what it's supposed to do, you have to complete the circle. There's 144,000 points of light. We need to fill each one of them so that we can utilize the total positive energy effect that can destroy all the negative energy. But again, people want people to tell them exactly who they are, or when they get the information, it's not the right information, because we don't have the right to tell people who they are. We have the right to give them the tools so they can find out who they are, because then you own it. It belongs to you, and no one can take it away. It's just like I've always wanted to do a picture, have somebody paint the picture. I remember the warrior with his head down and the horse's head down and his spear pointing towards the ground. To me, that's a defeatist look, like giving up. I want to do a picture with that, but I wanted 3 Indians riding away, giving that Indian the finger. Because when you fill people with these type of images, it creates a very negative thing. Even though the guy, whoever painted it, wanted to symbolize something else, people look at it as defeat.
Well, it is a depressing image, isn't it?
Yeah. So if we do not start to realize the importance to find out who we are and what energy we belong to, then everything's going to be lost. But every prophecy that has been made, when I had my prophecies to me, one of the things that I came to realize that the prophecy that they give you doesn't have to happen, because you have the power to change it. And this is why it's so important for people to understand how important the human circle of life is, because the philosophy, the knowledge that is within the circle itself will take people who are upside down and bring them upright. And once they are upright, when they reach the center, there's no color. We are again one color, which doesn't mean a race, doesn't mean a culture. It means that we have been united as one energy, and color no longer has no meaning. It means that you finally found your spiritual center, and everybody comes together, even like the yin and yang come together. You know, all these things that they talk about, but they've never came out to find out how do you create this circle of love, the circle of power, the circle of energy that was given to me to pass on to the people, but only to pass on to the people if they wanted to learn. People, again, they have the freedom of choice. And if they choose a pathway that does not lead them to who they are, to their inner self, they're lost. And I can bring the knowledge to me. I can bring it to them as it was brought to me and basically give them the instruments that will help them discover who they are and how they are connected. But they got to remember, I'm getting up in years. This knowledge will not be available once I'm gone. It's gone. So people have to realize that the teachings that I need to start teaching people on the tools and how to do certain type of, I hate to call them ceremonies. I would like to just call them giving them information on the way of life, the way we're supposed to be connected to the life force energies. And I'm available, but getting people over there to understand that I'm here, even though it's going to be difficult to travel nowadays because you never know what's going to happen. And just like some people are talking about, if you leave the country, it's going to be very difficult to get back into the country. You're going to have 10 different affidavits saying, this is who I am. The world is just crazy, you know. And a long time ago, too, I was given a vision of 5 bundles, different colors, and each bundle had a certain power. And when I went before the elders, they said, these bundles are yours. And I told them, I don't want the bundles. I said, I'm here for the people. And if I accept these bundles, I'm obligated to the native people. But what I didn't understand, and that I understand now, I should have accepted them, but because I didn't have the knowledge of the bundles, I gave them up. But the elders looked at me and said, we finally found a Thunderbird that is not conceited. So, in a way, by refusing, I was awarded my connections. But now I realize, too, at that time, it was a perfect answer because I had to answer it that way. But if I've ever offered those 5 bundles again, I'm going to accept them because the bundles are for the indigenous people. And any human being upon the earth has the right to become indigenous. And that with those 5 bundles, the power that they have, I can basically give them the information that will help them become indigenous, real people of the earth. But I can't do it unless the people get off the couch, get off the toilet stool, and start getting involved in finding out who they are. I'm willing to teach them and give them the gifts that they need. But if they don't respond, you know, even the people that maybe watch the podcast, they need to get the word out. It's up to them. I can't do it from where I'm at. But they have the contacts. They have one person who can tell 2 other people, who can tell 2 other people. And next thing you know, you have the people who are willing to fulfill the human circle of life and to bring the sacred hoop back into effect. But it's up to them. I can't force them. I can't scare them. They have to do it from their own free will.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt you at any point during that because it was all good. So it's my turn to speak, is it?
But the tools are out there, you know. The CD is out there to help them. But once they look at the CD, they don't need to make determinations on what the CD and what they see. They need to ask me to make sure that they're interpreting it right. And that the CD can actually take that step forward in getting prepared to find their pathway and to start having visions. They don't realize how much information those visions have if they're willing to basically take that step. They may take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but they have taken 1 step advance. And they get closer and closer to that center. But again, they have to choose to want to find out who they really are. You know, some of them want so much to be shamans, healers, herbalists. Well, where do you think we learned the herbs from? We learned them from vision, and then we learned them from nature. So that in order to connect, in order to become who they are, that's how it is. It's just like the story I was told by this one elder. She was a individual who knew the secret how to make prairie dog stew. So, but they were worried because once she left, there was nobody to take her place. So they did a ceremony asking the energies to give someone the vision that would allow the old lady to teach the individual about the secret of prairie dog stew. So the whole situation came down that all of a sudden a young girl had a vision. So she went and she told the spiritual advisor. The spiritual advisor told the old lady, she said, yeah, she's the one I have to teach. She's the one I have to give her all the instructions. So the young lady went to the elder, and the elder said, the first thing you want to do, I want you to go to the stream. Now, there's a place in the stream where it comes into the bend, and there's water that is there. That's the purest water there is in that river. So I want you to go and fill your container, bring it here, and put it into this black pot. So the young lady made several trips until the pot was full. She said, now, we got to go out and we got to catch some prairie dogs. So she went out and she showed them how to basically catch the prairie dogs. They put them in a sack, brought them back, put the prairie dogs into the water. And she said, well, that's not enough, so we'll go pick some more. So the young girl said, but we can't leave. And the old lady said, why? If we leave, those prairie dogs will get out. The old lady said, don't worry about it. They're Indian prairie dogs. When one tries to make it out, the other one will drag them back and drag them under. To say that the worst enemy that we have is ourselves.
Can I ask a question now? A couple of things, actually. First of all, you said when, and I hope it's many, many years from now, but when you return home, as you like to call it, that your knowledge would be lost. Does Matthew not know the knowledge that you know?
He's learning and he's gaining a lot of knowledge fast. What he has to do is he has to learn how to relay it. Because it's like he said, like the guy said, why don't you share your knowledge with a cow? And the guy says, the cow would never understand it. So Matthew's at that stage where he says, will people understand me? Or is it worth trying to explain something that people will sit there and say, what? What are you talking about? And he has a lot of knowledge. And it's funny because he's starting to develop that connection. He's starting to develop that messages that are coming from the source of the power. And he's advancing quite quickly. And I've always told him the only thing that you have to learn now is diplomacy. How can you sit there and take all this knowledge and bring it down to the level that people will understand what you're talking about? I said, you got to sit there and you got to build them up, build them up, build them up until they're finally find their top level of who they particularly are. So the knowledge, when he went down to Canyon City, he met a medicine woman. And a lot of his answers, I mean, those two connected right away. And she starts sharing knowledge at him that she had never shared with anybody else. Because she felt the connection of how he was connected. So now he wants me to go down and meet her. So we're going to maybe make a trip this summer and go down to Kansas City to go meet her. It's not bad. It's about 3.5 hour drive. That's not too bad. It's just a kind of a hop away. So he really wants me to go meet her, and she wants to meet me. So we'll go down and it's very spiritual down there. I was laughing at him. He said, "We need to move to Kansas City." I said, "No." He said, "Why is that?" I said, "There's rattlesnakes there. There's scorpions there. There's spiders there." I said, "And it's hot."
Related, because you mentioned it about this medicine woman. Linda actually, we were talking the other week. It was when we were talking. I'm on about here. At the end of the recording, she sent me a message because I'd said something that I didn't realise. I was dumb on. Let's just say that. What's the difference between a medicine person and a shaman?
Well,
Because she said to me, they're different. And I was like, oh, that was me being stupid then.
yeah,
So what is the
it really
difference?
isn't anything different. It's just terminology.
So I
In
was
fact,
right.
I have never liked the word medicine man or medicine woman. I feel that when they said that, they're connected and they're grounded. But a lot of the things they do has nothing to do with being a medicine person. It's being spiritually connected to nature. And the shaman is connected to nature. The medicine person is connected to nature. So I wish I could come up to a different word. The only word I use basically right now is spiritual advisor.
That
It
sounds
makes a
very
lot more,
21st century.
yeah, it makes a lot more sense. Uh, and then again, every person has a gift. Every person is connected to some type of energy that heals. So does that make everybody in the world a medicine person if they find out who they are? No, it's just their gift. Their gift of utilizing that particular energy to help heal people.
So a shaman and a medicine person is the same term then?
They're the same thing, yeah.
All right. Linda, if you're watching this either now or on the replay, maybe you need to explain to me why you thought it was different.
This is like when I'm walking down the street and say, "Hi, how are you?" And I say, "Finish it." "What do you mean? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you?" They have an Indian song.
Is that actually a real chant, or is that just something that was made up?
Yeah. And then
No,
again,
no, no.
like
I'm asking you because you went that high. Is that an actual real indigenous chant, or was that just something made up for comedy and TV?
well, no, chanting is very, very important. In fact, I wish people would just try this one time. You know, just make a chant, say, "Hey, ya, na, hey, ya, na." Okay, you're just repeating something. But if you sit there and you allow yourself to go into yourself, and all of a sudden this song comes and you sing it, and there's so much difference in that song because the song is a feeling. That song is a representation of what you're trying to say, but you're saying it in a chant, and you're projecting that what you feel into words that have no meaning except they create a picture, and that picture is being sent up, and there are energies that are listening to it, and they hear you, and they come. Because a lot of times when you sit there, like I explained before, like "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." How many people say that prayer with no meaning?
Mm.
And they don't know the meaning of the because it's not theirs. It's someone who came up with it because of how they felt at that particular moment. But now it has become just words,
Yeah.
something to repeat. But every song that you come up with should have a meaning to it. And every time you have a certain meaning, the song comes out, but the message that you transport is the message that's coming from your deep inside, from your own life force energy. And you're coming from your heart. And that's why it's so much more powerful than just doing a chant, because a lot of people, can I learn that chant? Can I learn that? And it doesn't do any good if you don't know where the chant comes from. It's got to come from your inner self. It's got to come from how you're feeling. It's got to come from your heart. And that's the message that, what do you want to call the creator, God, Allah, Buddha, whatever, that's the language they understand. And it's like a lot of people will come out, and a lot of I know, the tribes say, it's important for you to speak your language. It's only important to speak your language among the people who speak your language.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it's for the whole world. It's only for the tribe that you belong to. So a lot of times when I sit there and I'm really concerned when people say, you got to learn to do it in your language. No, the language of the heart is the universal language. It's like we were in a lodge one time, and we were in the prayer round, and this little young kid was 14 years old. He said, Creator, please forgive me. I've forgotten how to speak in my native tongue, so I have to speak to you in English. So he finished his prayer, and when they opened up the door later on, and all the elders there were looking at the ground and everything, and a young kid, what are you doing? We're looking for your native tongue. And so to me, I really laughed so damn hard because what they were telling you found your words, you found your feeling, you were sincere, so you were talking in the language that the Creator understood.
Oh, that was funny. That made me laugh, and now I'm coughing my guts up.
There's been so many things that you got to have. Like when I'm in everybody's so serious, but sometimes you got to have some kind of humor when you're in that lodge because you're in the womb of Mother Earth, and then humor is a great healer. It's just like we sat there and we had this one man from Africa that came there, and he said, how hot does it get in there? He said, sometimes it gets very hot. Well, what happens if I can't take it? All you got to say is to all my relations and we'll open the door. So they sat in the lodge and it got hot. And the African man said, to all my relations. And the leader of the lodge put more water on the rocks and got hotter. To all my relations, he hollered out. He put more water on the rocks. And finally, he just said, he left. He went out, flying out the door. When the lodge was finally done, they all came out, and he was sitting there with his arms crossed, and he had this look of frustration and anger. He looked at the head of the lodge, and he said, I thought you said you would open the door if I said to all my relations. The medicine man looked at him. We would have, but you had no relations. So sometimes there's quite a bit of humor that needs to be in the lodge itself, because humor, when people start laughing, they give up their, how would you say, they give up
The mask.
feeling, yeah, of
that they're wearing.
being pressured, and they release this pressure, and then you can take more heat.
Oh, I was just going to say, you see the real person more when you laugh.
Yeah, you become more connected.
Yeah.
And I'm just like I was sitting there, they were having this one. A lot of stuff is coming out on Facebook now, but I wish that when they do things, they start to explain the reason why we do certain things as Indigenous people. But they seem to leave the end of the truth out. They only say so much, but they never finish. And they never explain, like the sweat lodge, again, they never explained that sweat lodge was for men and only men. They talk about, it as it's a spiritual connection. And what I always laugh about, it's not so much a spiritual connection that they hit, it's the idea that they come out and they said, I survived. But if they do it right, and then again, your energy will come and leave the body. And when that happens, you become so in tune with the lodge itself that the heat doesn't bother you. And I know when I sit there and I do my lodge, I always explain to them, now we're going to go into the healing round in which it's going to take the pollution out of your body. I said, now realize this is a healing moment. It's a time for you to connect and to allow the healing energy of the heat that is partly all water. Water is a great healer. So give yourself to the water. Give yourself to the rocks. Give yourself to the heat. Become one with them and allow the healing to go into your body and to force the negative energy out. And then all of a sudden they said, when they get out the lodge, that wasn't that hot. So again, if you can connect them to the spiritual experience of why that lodge is being held, why you're in the womb of Mother Earth. And you're not in the womb of Mother Earth when you go into a sweat lodge. You're there to basically just purify your body. That's why a lot of people who, when I used to run sweat lodges, would start coming to the Mother Earth lodge. They say, why is there such a difference here? You ran the sweat lodges, and we could feel it, but here, the energy is powerful. I said, that's because you're in the womb of Mother Earth. And you're connected to the womb, and you're connected to the source of the power. But you have to connect. You have to allow the heat to basically become a healer. Not a hindrance, but a healer. So that's why it's so important that the Mother Earth Lodge is utilized. And it's unfortunate because I'm the only one who runs it.
That's a good place to stop because we're actually into the last minute. This has been fantastic. I've not said a word hardly, apart from when we were talking shit at the beginning. So, yeah, we're going to get cut off any second now.
Yeah.
But that was really good. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would probably say is get out there, people, and beat the bushes. Get the people involved, and I'll come.
We'll talk about that next week, how people can get you involved.
I might be taking after next week. Maybe I'll probably be taking about a week to 2 weeks.
All right, well, we'll talk about that next week then, because we're going to get cut off any second now.